Welcome to AI World TV, your go-to destination for everything artificial intelligence. Discover the captivating landscape of AI, where advanced technology finds real-life application. Subscribe to AI World TV for webzine articles, reports, podcasts, videos, live events, and latest trends. Hear from top industry leaders and discover how AI is transforming industries and our daily lives.
You know that feeling when you're talking to someone who is, incredibly book smart?
Oh, yeah?
Maybe they are an absolute genius on paper, but they have just absolutely zero ability to read the room.
Right, the kind of person who might perfectly recite the dictionary definition of rain or, the meteorological causes of precipitation.
Yeah.
While you are standing right next to them.
Yeah.
Completely drenched and, shivering without an umbrella.
That is it, exactly. I mean, you ask a question and you get this technically flawless answer that is just entirely useless for your actual real-world situation.
Completely useless.
And if you are joining us today as someone who loves staying ahead of the tech curve, you have probably felt that exact same frustration. Welcome to today's deep dive, by the way.
Great to be here.
Because we are talking about that very specific bottleneck today. For a lot of us, that oblivious genius, that's exactly what it feels like to use even the most advanced generative AI right now.
Yeah, it really does.
It's this remarkably fast, incredibly dense, but entirely literal-minded machine. It's locked in a windowless room. You slide a prompt under the door, it slides an answer back.
But it has no idea who you are.
Exactly. It doesn't know what you actually need or, what's happening outside that room.
Right. It's completely disconnected from the messy, highly contextual reality of human life. And I think the thing is, that disconnect isn't just a minor annoyance anymore.
No, not at all.
It is rapidly becoming the defining limitation in artificial intelligence. We have basically reached the ceiling of what a context-blind machine can actually do.
Which brings us to our mission for this deep dive. We are unpacking a highly debated, incredibly thought-provoking article from July 12, 2026 in the AI World Journal.
It's a fascinating piece.
It really is. It was written by Sidney Armani, an independent technology analyst, and he's proposing a massive paradigm shift to fix this exact limitation.
A total rethink of the architecture.
Right. So, okay, let's unpack this. Because if Armani's framework is right, the fundamental way we interact with machines is about to change forever. He calls this next leap Santattic Intelligence.
Santattic Intelligence.
Yeah.
It's a really profound framework. But to understand why Armani believes this Santattic Intelligence is so revolutionary, we first have to ground ourselves in the core problem he identifies with the status quo.
Okay, lay it out for us.
He argues that despite all the hype and, to be fair, the genuinely incredible scaling of large language models.
Oh, for sure. They've gotten huge.
Right. But despite that, current AI doesn't possess a deeper understanding of the world. It operates in what he calls a reactive rut.
The reactive rut. Meaning it just kind of sits there waiting for us to do the heavy lifting of figuring out the context.
Precisely. It waits for a prompt. It processes that prompt based strictly on static data it was trained on months or even years ago.
Yeah.
Then it spits out a response. It relies heavily on statistical correlations, basically predicting the next most likely token.
Rather than any kind of actual reasoning.
Yeah.
Exactly. Rather than causal reasoning.
But, okay, I want to push back on that a bit just to play devil's advocate for a second.
Sure.
Aren't today's LLMs already demonstrating what looks like reasoning? I mean, they pass the bar exam, they write incredibly complex software architecture.
You do.
You can feed them a massive corporate merger document, and they summarize the key liabilities in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That really feels like comprehension.
It feels like it, yes. And computationally, it is a brilliant feat of engineering. But Armani makes a really crucial distinction here between computational execution and actual comprehension.
Okay, what's the difference?
When an AI passes the bar exam today, it is not reasoning through jurisprudence the way a human attorney does. It's mapping vectors.
Right.
It is using statistical correlation to determine which word should mathematically follow the previous word, based on millions of legal documents it ingested. It doesn't actually understand the why behind the law.
So it's just very good at guessing the next word. Very good at guessing. But Santattic Intelligence, by contrast, is an architecture designed to transcend token prediction entirely.
Wow.
It is meant to comprehend nuance, to recognize underlying environmental patterns, adapt to dynamic situations, and actually utilize causal reasoning.
Causal reasoning. So understanding cause and effect in the real world rather than just noticing that word A and word B tend to show up next to each other in a data set.
That's the leap. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. Right now, our interaction with AI is essentially a black box transaction.
totally.
You input highly manicured data, the mathematical magic happens inside, and data comes out. But if the real-world situation changes even slightly...
Or if your prompt is just a little ambiguous.
Right. If the prompt is ambiguous, that black box shatters because it has no foundational understanding of the environment.
I always picture it as having this brilliant but entirely literal-minded intern.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right, like this intern sits at their desk doing absolutely nothing until you walk over and hand them a hyper-specific, meticulously worded list of instructions.
Right.
And if you leave out one step, they don't logically fill in the blank. They just stop working.
Or they do something entirely wrong.
Exactly. And they certainly don't, look around the office to see that the trash is overflowing and intuitively think, oh, I should probably empty that.
That is a great way to visualize the limitation. Current AI is an isolated execution engine. You have to micromanage it.
And Armani wants to fix that.
He does. His concept of Santattic Intelligence shifts this dynamic from micromanagement toward symbiotic collaboration. The system is designed to work alongside you.
Like a real teammate.
Exactly. Augmenting human intuition, anticipating your needs based on the environment, rather than sitting idle waiting for a perfectly engineered command.
So how do we actually get this intern out of the windowless room? Because Armani argues that to move from a literal execution engine to a true partner, the AI needs a constant stream of real-world context, right?
Yes. He calls this evaluating the situational matrix.
The situational matrix, which, sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It does sound a bit sci-fi.
Yeah. But it really just means the AI is weighing a multitude of factors simultaneously before it ever speaks.
Right. It is pulling in historical interactions, yes, which we kind of have now, but Armani takes it much further.
How much further?
Well, a Santattic system evaluates your current emotional state, the inferred urgency of your request, and real-time external environmental factors.
Okay, which raises an immediate question for me. How does a machine calculate my emotional state without being incredibly deeply invasive?
It's a fair question. It's analyzing micro-interactions. So, how fast are you typing? Are you making more typos than usual?
Oh, interesting.
What is the tone of your voice? Are you rapidly switching between applications? By heavily weighing that situational matrix, the system filters out irrelevant noise.
So it's reading the contextual clues we don't even realize we're giving.
Exactly. For example, if you ask a Santattic system for a restaurant recommendation and your biometric data shows high stress.
Like an elevated heart rate from a smartwatch or something?
Right. And your calendar shows you have a meeting in 20 minutes. It isn't going to offer you a list of leisurely sit-down dining experiences.
Because it knows you don't have time.
It understands the urgency, so it points you to the nearest coffee shop that have no line.
Okay, but wait. If the AI is analyzing my context and habits today, what happens when my life changes?
What do you mean?
Let's say I move to a new city next week, or, my job role completely shifts. If the system is just basing its context on what it learned today, it's going to be offering me coffee shops in a city I no longer live in. How does it keep up with that?
So that brings us to one of the most critical structural changes Armani proposes: continuous and dynamic learning.
Continuous learning.
Because current traditional AI suffers from what developers call model drift. Once a model is trained and deployed, it is essentially frozen in time.
Right. It's like trying to navigate a sprawling, chaotic new city using a printed map from 5 years ago.
That's exactly it.
You might have a great map, but if a new skyscraper was built last year, your map is going to confidently drive you right into a brick wall.
And updating that map, retraining that static AI model, it's not just a simple software patch.
No, it's a massive undertaking.
It often requires taking the system offline, gathering millions of new data points, and spending millions of dollars in computational power and energy just to teach the model the new reality.
Right. Whereas Armani envisions Santattic AI operating on a real-time feedback loop, it just abandons the printed map entirely.
Exactly.
It becomes like a local riding shotgun in your car. They see the construction ahead, they hear the real-time traffic report, they remember that you told them yesterday you hate driving on the highway.
And they adjust the route instantly.
Yeah. The system learns from new, unstructured information and user corrections on the fly. No multi-million-dollar overhaul needed.
What's fascinating here is how this continuous learning necessitates a completely different approach to ethics and safety.
Oh, how so?
Well, if the system is always learning and adapting in real time, you can't rely on static guardrails. Armani insists that in Santattic Intelligence, Ethical decision-making has to be baked into the architecture.
Rather than bolted on at the end.
Exactly.
Because right now, the standard industry practice is to build this massive, highly capable model, realize it might generate something harmful or biased, and then desperately bolt a filter onto the output to block the bad stuff.
Right, a filter that users inevitably figure out how to bypass in about 5 minutes with some clever prompt.
Right, the whole jailbreaking thing.
Yeah, because the underlying model still actually wants to generate the harmful output. It's just being temporarily censored by an external script.
It's basically playing whack-a-mole.
Yeah, exactly. Armani argues that responsible development for a Santattic system means fairness, transparency, and privacy protection are foundational weights in its causal reasoning.
So it literally can't reason its way to a bad output.
Right. If a generated decision violates an ethical constraint, the system recognizes that conflict internally during its reasoning process, and it alters its course fundamentally.
Wow.
It's an architectural feature, not just a superficial keyword block.
And all of this contextual awareness, this dynamic learning, these baked-in ethics, it all serves Armani's ultimate goal for this tech, which he calls human-centered augmentation.
Yes.
He uses this phrase that I just cannot stop thinking about. He says that AI shouldn't be a replacement for us. It should be an exoskeleton for the human mind.
It's such a brilliant way to frame it.
You are listening to the AI World Podcast, your trusted source for the latest innovations, insights, and trends in artificial intelligence, blockchain, fintech, and decentralized technologies. Each episode features expert interviews, engaging discussions, and in-depth analysis of how AI transforms industries worldwide. Stay ahead of the curve with the latest articles and exclusive reports from the AI World Journal, covering everything from emerging technologies to industry breakthroughs. For more news, global events, and access to AI World Society circle gatherings, visit us at aiworld.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed, stay connected, and be part of the AI revolution with AI World Lounge. Thank you for listening.
Think about a physical exoskeleton. It doesn't walk for you.
Right.
It doesn't decide where you are going. It takes on the heavy lifting so that you can walk further, carry more, and climb higher without fatigue.
So a Santattic system takes over the tedious, repetitive cognitive processing?
Exactly. It surfaces high-level, context-aware recommendations, but it leaves the human firmly in the driver's seat for the complex, nuanced judgment calls.
Okay, so we know what it's supposed to do conceptually, and it sounds amazing, but what are the actual gears and wires making this possible?
The underlying tech.
Yeah, because you can't just open a terminal and code, hey, understand human context and have baked-in ethics. We have to look under the hood. How do we actually build the exoskeleton?
Well, Armani points to the convergence of several cutting-edge subfields that are currently being developed in silos.
Yeah.
The biggest hurdle to overcome is bridging the gap between pattern recognition and logic.
Okay.
And to do that, he highlights neuro-symbolic AI.
Let's break that down, because I know we have deep learning right now, which uses neural networks. And neural networks are fantastic at looking at, say, 1 million pictures of a stop sign and learning the visual pattern of a stop sign.
They are. Deep learning operates in continuous vector spaces. It's incredibly fluid, which is why it can handle messy visual or auditory data.
Right.
But it is fundamentally terrible at strict logic and rule-based reasoning.
Yeah.
It can recognize the stop sign, but it doesn't inherently understand the discrete logical rule of why the physics of traffic require cars to stop.
It just knows what the red octagon looks like.
Exactly.
Right. And on the flip side, we used to rely on older symbolic AI, which was nothing but rigid logical rules, like if A, then B.
The old expert systems.
But symbolic AI completely fell apart the second you gave it messy real-world data that didn't fit perfectly into its pre-coded boxes.
Exactly. So neuro-symbolic AI attempts to marry the two. It is an architecture that uses neural networks to ingest and make sense of the messy, unstructured real world, giving the AI a creative, pattern-matching right brain, essentially.
Okay.
Then it feeds that structured understanding into a symbolic engine that applies strict causal logic, giving it a rule-following left brain.
It sees the pattern with the right brain and then logically reasons through the implications with the left brain. That is wild.
It really is.
But to reason through my specific life, it needs to organize that information somehow, right? Which leads to the second piece of tech Armani lists, dynamic knowledge graphs.
Yes. So if you conceptualize standard AI training data, it is often treated like a massive, flat spreadsheet of statistical weights.
Just rows and columns of numbers.
Right. A knowledge graph, however, is a web of semantic relationships. It maps out how different entities connect in the real world.
I always picture it like a corkboard with the red string connecting all the push pins.
That's a perfect visual.
Yes?
Yes. And the dynamic part is crucial here. In a Santattic system, this web updates in real time.
So the pins are moving.
Exactly. If the relationship between two global corporations changes due to a merger, or even on a micro level, if your personal preference shifts from drinking coffee to drinking tea.
The system reorganizes the red string on the corkboard immediately.
Instantly.
Yeah.
It changes its fundamental understanding of the world without requiring a multi-million-dollar retraining phase.
Okay, so we have the neuro-symbolic brain, we have the dynamic knowledge graph mapping the data, and then Armani introduces multi-agent orchestration.
Yes, this is key.
When I first read this part, I actually had to stop. So, multi-agent orchestration. Does this mean instead of asking one AI for an answer, we are essentially triggering a virtual boardroom of specialized AIs that argue with each other before giving us a final output?
That is precisely how it functions. And it addresses one of the biggest flaws in current generative AI, which is hallucinations.
Right, when the AI just confidently lies to you.
Yes. Right now, if a single monolithic model makes a mistake, it just confidently delivers that hallucinated fact directly to you. But in a multi-agent system, you have specialized models checking each other.
Like a system of checks and balances.
Exactly. You might have a generator agent that pulls the data, a critic agent whose only job is to find logical flaws in the generator's work, and an ethics agent verifying compliance.
So the generator says, here's the plan. The critic says, hang on, your logic contradicts our foundational rule. And the ethics agent chimes in, plus, implementing this violates the user's privacy settings.
They debate, they cross-examine, and they course-correct internally in microseconds.
In microseconds. That's incredible.
By the time the final output reaches the human user, it has survived a rigorous adversarial review process. It creates an incredibly resilient, trustworthy decision-making framework.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because if we pull this out of the server room and look at what this tech does in our daily lives, it fundamentally changes how services operate. Armani calls it hyper-personalization at scale.
It's a game changer for consumer tech.
Let's take finance, for example.
Right.
We've all had the experience of traveling, trying to buy dinner, and having our credit card declined because the bank's AI flagged it as fraud.
It's the classic reactive system. The current AI spots an anomaly like a transaction in a foreign country for a high amount, and it applies a rigid rule. Freeze the account.
It's like a generic bouncer at a club who doesn't know you.
Right.
You take one step out of line, you don't match the dress code perfectly, and you're just tossed out into the street. But a Santattic system, leveraging that dynamic knowledge graph, is like the veteran bartender who has known you for years.
The bartender knows your context.
Exactly. The bartender knows you just got a promotion, they know you booked a flight to Paris 2 days ago, and they know you usually celebrate by buying an expensive watch.
Yep.
The Santattic AI looks at the Parisian watch purchase and says, well, this transaction is unusual for a Tuesday, but logically, based on the situational matrix, it makes perfect sense.
Because it understands the context of your behavior.
Yeah.
It drastically reduces false positives.
And it saves everyone a headache.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, think about how that depth of contextual understanding transforms healthcare.
Oh, man. Yeah.
We aren't just talking about a better symptom checker chatbot. A Santattic assistant for a physician could cross-reference a patient's genetic markers, their granular, real-time lifestyle data from wearables, and their historical responses to obscure medications.
All instantly.
Right. It can generate a highly customized care plan while proactively flagging a potential adverse drug interaction that a human doctor simply dealing with data fatigue and massive caseloads might have just missed.
Armani also brings up education, which I loved. A Santattic tutoring system wouldn't just grade a math test and say you failed.
No, it would adapt.
Right. If a student is struggling with fractions, the system doesn't just repeat the same visual lesson louder and slower. It recognizes the specific cognitive block.
It reads the situational matrix of the student.
Yeah, it realizes, okay, the visual representation isn't clicking. Let's dynamically shift to an auditory or logic-based explanation, and it patiently waits for actual mastery.
And in the corporate realm, Armani points to what he calls operational alchemy.
Operational alchemy.
Yes. This is the ability to take vast silos of unstructured, messy corporate data emails, supply chain delays, humidity sensors on a manufacturing floor and turn it into actionable, predictive insight.
So it connects the dots across departments.
Exactly. A smart manufacturing plant could predict a machine failure, not by looking at a rigid maintenance schedule, but by understanding the context of how intensely it was used this week and the ambient temperature of the factory.
Plus, there's the sustainable efficiency angle. By not having to constantly retrain these massive monolithic models from scratch every time the world changes, we are saving staggering amounts of electricity and computational resources.
It is fundamentally a greener approach to artificial intelligence.
So what does this all mean? If Santattic Intelligence provides operational alchemy, saves money, and acts like the ultimate veteran bartender and teammate, why isn't this running on my phone right now?
Well, there are always hurdles.
Right, we have to look at the massive roadblocks still standing in the way. Armani makes it clear we are a long way from the finish line.
The engineering hurdles are monumental. The first major roadblock he details is the challenge of catastrophic forgetting.
Let's dig into that because the name alone sounds absolutely terrifying. Is catastrophic forgetting essentially the AI version of spending 3 months intensely studying a new language, but suddenly realizing you completely forgot your high school locker combination and your cousin's birthday?
That captures the symptom perfectly, yeah. To understand the mechanism, you have to look at how neural networks store information. Knowledge isn't saved in neat little folders. It is distributed across thousands of mathematical weights and connections.
Okay.
When you force a continuous learning system to ingest new real-time data, it adjusts those weights to accommodate the new information.
And adjusting a weight over here might accidentally crush a foundational piece of knowledge over there.
Precisely. If the system updates its weights to learn the new traffic patterns in your new city, it might inadvertently overwrite the foundational weights that govern basic highway safety rules.
Oh, wow, that is a problem.
Balancing the plasticity to learn new things with the stability to retain old, vital knowledge is mathematically incredibly difficult to isolate.
Which feeds right into the second massive hurdle, the alignment problem.
Yes.
If this syntactic system is constantly evolving, updating its knowledge graph, and adapting to new environments all on its own, how do we ensure it doesn't slowly drift away from human values?
It's a huge concern.
Right, like if it is always learning, it might logically deduce a highly efficient solution that we find morally abhorrent.
This raises an important question about auditing these systems, which brings Armani to the third roadblock, explainability, or XAI.
Explainable AI.
Right. As these systems become exponentially more complex, weighing your emotional state, environmental factors, and historical context through a neuro-symbolic multi-agent boardroom, explaining how the AI arrived at a specific decision becomes a forensic nightmare.
Because it's not a simple if A, then B flowchart anymore. It's an emergent consensus from like 50 competing variables debated in a microsecond.
And if you can't trace that consensus back to its origin, you cannot achieve regulatory compliance.
Ah, the regulators.
Right. If a Santattic AI denies a small business loan, the bank cannot legally look at regulators and say, well, the multi-agent virtual boardroom debated it, and this is what they decided.
Just trust the virtual boardroom.
Exactly. They'd get shut down. They need to show the exact causal reasoning. Earning user trust in high-stakes environments requires flawless reliability and total transparency.
And speaking of trust, that brings us to the final, perhaps most glaring paradox Armani points out, data privacy in context.
This is the big one for consumers.
Yeah, to provide this magical, hyper-personalized veteran bartender experience, the system fundamentally requires access to an enormous granular amount of data about your life.
It needs to know your calendar, your heart rate, your travel history, your purchasing habits, everything.
But hoarding all of that deeply personal data on a centralized corporate server is a massive security risk, and it directly clashes with privacy regulations like GDPR.
Armani suggests the only way to solve this privacy paradox is through highly sophisticated edge computing.
Edge computing, meaning it stays on my device.
Exactly. This means the heavy lifting, the processing of your contextual data happens locally on your actual device, like your phone or laptop, rather than being sent up to a corporate cloud.
But running a multi-agent neuro-symbolic AI locally on a phone battery, I mean, the hardware bottlenecks there are massive.
They are. The silicon required to run that level of computation on the edge without melting your device in your pocket is still years away from mass deployment.
So balancing that privacy with the hardware demands is going to take time. But what does this all mean for us while we wait for that transition, bringing it all back to Sydney Armani's ultimate vision? We are looking at a decade-long transition. We are moving from treating computers as tools to treating them as teammates.
With a tool, you input a prompt and you get an output. The success of the operation is entirely dependent on your precision as the operator. With a teammate, you state a broader goal, and the AI collaborates with you to achieve it, anticipating friction points and adjusting for context along the way. Armani's goal for Santattic Intelligence isn't merely to produce faster processors. It's to build an architecture that is structurally resilient and actually serves human nuance.
It's about finally letting the literal intern out of that windowless room and letting them experience the real world alongside us.
Beautiful put.
But I want to leave you with a thought that builds on Armani's vision. If he is right, and over the next 10 years, these Santattic systems successfully become our perfect teammates, digital partners that adapt flawlessly to our emotional states, instantly recognize our cognitive blocks, adjust their communication style to suit our exact needs, and frankly, never get frustrated with us, how is that going to change our expectations for our actual human relationships?
That is the truly profound question. When we become accustomed to an exoskeleton for the mind, a partner that anticipates our needs with perfect empathy and infinite patience, how much patience will we have left for our highly flawed, non-adaptive, wonderfully messy human teammates?
If the machines become perfectly accommodating, we might just forget how to accommodate each other. It's a lot to think about as we watch this technology evolve. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the digital world around you, and we'll catch you next time.
The future of artificial intelligence is unfolding, and it's happening at AI World Week, the flagship global event for innovation, collaboration, and transformation. This flagship global AI event is designed to connect visionary leaders, trailblazing entrepreneurs, and influential thinkers to explore the endless possibilities of AI. Experience groundbreaking technology that redefines industries and inspires progress. Join thought-provoking discussions on ethical AI, digital equity, and the transformative role of technology in our world. Build meaningful connections that catalyze innovation and drive impact. AI World Week is powered by AI World Society, a global movement dedicated to advancing AI responsibly and ensuring it serves humanity. Together, we're shaping a smarter, more inclusive, and equitable future. Continue your journey beyond the event with the AI World Journal, offering expert insights, in-depth analysis, and the latest trends shaping the AI landscape. This is your opportunity to lead, to innovate, and to transform the world with AI. AI World Week. We invite you to join us and embrace the AI revolution.